Okay, here we are, NXT TakeOver Orlando. You know, as opposed to all those other NXT shows that were also in Orlando. Well, anyway, show got just finished about 10 minutes or so ago, and let's get to it. So, just before we get into the matches proper, there were new NXT Championship belts unveiled. I'll show them when we get to the matches that do that. Anyway, our first match is the 8-person intergender tag team match. Sanity versus Ty Dillinger, Roderick Strong, Ruby Riott, and it was supposed to be No Way Jose. However, at a event earlier in the day, Sanity attacked No Way Jose and he was physically unable to compete. So instead, we get Cassius Ohno teaming with Ty Dillinger, Roderick Strong, and Ruby Riott. The women start off, which was a bit of a refreshing thing to see. Ruby Riott whipped Nikki Cross into the corner. Cross managed to go over and immediately tagged Alexander Wolf. Ruby Riott was forced to tag in Cassius Ohno as per intergender rules. Ohno tagged in Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong hit Eric Young with basically a full Nelson into a backbreaker. Sorry about that. Killian Dane then tagged in and hit Strong with a series of elbow drops. At this point, Sanity just isolated Strong and started beating him in the corner. Eric Young even locked Roderick Strong in a top rope dragon sleeper. Young was up in the corner, standing up on the corner turnbuckle when he was doing it. Eventually, Dillinger got the hot tag. A big schmoz started to break out. Ruby Riott and Nikki Cross began brawling outside the ring. Dillinger hit Killian Dane with a super kick and got a 2 count. Again, big schmoz happened. Ruby Riott hit a move off of the ring apron. Eric Young hit a big clothesline on Roderick Strong on the outside. Dillinger went to put Killian Dane in the tiebreaker, but Alexander Wolf got in and kicked Dillinger. That allowed Dane to hit his finisher, which I did not catch the name of completely. Nigel McGuinness said what it was, but he was kind of drowned out a little bit by something in the background. It sounded like he said the ultraplexation, but I may be wrong with that. Anyway, Dane hit his finisher on Ty Dillinger, got the 3 count and the win for Sanity, which I'm kind of mixed about. It was an alright match. I'm not going to pick on it too much. Just that, again, with this being the big takeover show, this is usually where the good guy gets his win back. And it seems like Ty Dillinger's just not doing that for some reason. Okay, our next match of the evening is Andrade Cien Almas taking on the debuting Aleister Black, a.k.a. Tommy End, if you followed the European wrestling circuit. Black goes for a tie-up, but it almost just kind of backs off and sort of laughs at him. Black almost went for a drop kick to Black's knee, but Black dodged out of the way. Almost did the Tranquilo, where he just rests on the ropes. He actually did kind of another one where he sort of dodged a roundhouse kick and spun down to the mat and just sat there for a while. Black did an arm wrench into a roundhouse kick. Almas did an armbar over the top rope and then hit a missile drop kick, got a 2 count. They brawled to the outside of the ring. Aleister Black hit a moonsault to the outside of the ring. Almas fought back, got the Rings of Saturn, but Black managed to get to the ropes. Almas hit a handspring kick and got a 2 count. Almas hit a German suplex and got a 2 count. Black hit a flying knee. Looked kind of like a bicycle kick, but it was more of a knee strike when he hit it. So that dazed Almas enough. Black then actually sort of picked Almas up with his foot. It's hard to explain. Like, you know, imagine this is Almas, and here, instead of picking him up like a hand, it was like with a foot. He lifted him up with his foot and then hit the Black Mass, which is a standing spin kick to the spinning heel kick with straight to the jaw for the 3 count and the win. And at this point, Nigel McGuinness said, Aleister Black has a bright future here in Ring of Honor. Yeah, of all the times to have a brain fart. Alright, now to our first of the 3 title matches, and our first look at the new belt design. This is the Tag Team Elimination Championship match. Tag Team Triple Threat Elimination Championship match, my mistake. The Authors of Pain versus DIY versus The Revival. And here's the look at the new NXT Tag Team Championship belts. They're alright looking. I like that they're sort of a tweaked up design of the original NXT Tag Team Championship belts. They're not overly elaborate. They're not going for the Spartan mask motif as the main roster is doing, so they look alright. Anyway, right off the bat, DIY and Revival realized they needed to get the Authors of Pain out of the equation rather quickly. They go after the DIY double teams Akam, the Revival double teams Razor. Unfortunately, this is short-lived, and the two DIY and Revival end up going back after each other. The Authors come back in. Ciampa then went to tag the Revival, who immediately backed off. And that's kind of what happened a little bit early on. Eventually, Gargano tagged back into the ring and speared Scott Dawson through the ropes for a 2 count. The Authors then began, another schmoz broke out. The Authors, they're on the outside. Gargano tried to do a suicide dive, but I believe it was Razor caught him through. Sorry. Razor caught Gargano and then threw him back into Ciampa, and then turned around and threw Gargano into Wilder again. Akam got into the ring and put Gargano in a torture rack. Ciampa managed to get a tag in and hit Akam with 2 big German suplexes. It's then they began. There was a table set up on the outside. They began. DIY tried to send Akam through the table as best they could. No, it was Razor. Sorry, Razor. Tried to send Razor through the table as much as they could. Eventually, the Revival came in and assisted them. They managed to send him through the table. It then became 4-on-1 with all of them on Akam, and they started going at it. Eventually, Dawson locked on that inverted figure 4 hold, and then Gargano runs. He looks like, oh, do I break it up? And immediately Ciampa's called off like, no, let him tap. Let him see if he taps him. And Gargano gets the bright idea to lock on an armbar. Or, no, it's crossface, my mistake. Crossface. And they're both hitting the double submission, but then as both Wilder and Ciampa are cheering on, Razor got back into the ring and sent Wilder and Ciampa into the submission hold, so broke it up. Dawson and Gargano hit the DIY. Actually, yeah, Scott Dawson and Gargano then hit the DIY finisher on Akam, and Ciampa and Wilder hit the Shatter Machine on Razor. Dawson then hit a superplex. Unfortunately, they began brawling to the outside of the ring again. And Dawson got the bright idea to hit a superplex onto Ciampa, onto the outside where everyone was standing. So all of the people on the outside of the ring caught the 2 of the wrestlers with the superplex. Unfortunately, Dawson was the first to get up, and he grabbed Ciampa and threw him into the ring and pinned him for the 3 count, eliminating DIY. And I think it's at this point the crowd realized that there probably wasn't going to be a title change, and they turned on the match a little bit. It was one of those things that, again, like, within the strictest sense of the logic, it didn't make any sense because they were supposed to be working to eliminate the Authors of Pain, not each other, and they wound up eliminating each other. Anyway, the Authors hit the final chapter. The Authors hit the final chapter on Ciampa, and that eliminated DIY. Sorry. The Revival began to hold their own. They hit a devastation device and got a 2 count. And but eventually the Authors would hit the Super Collider on the Revival and get the 3 count for the second elimination, and they retained the tag belts. Like I said, once DIY was eliminated, the crowd got hit to, oh, the Authors are going to retain. I would have had the Revival get eliminated first, at least give the crowd more of a thought that there would be a title change. Didn't seem to really occur, so other than that, though, this was a great match. Great moments, a lot of stuff, great spots planned out. Authors of Pain proved that they could really go if they need to, so everything's good there. I gotta wonder how long these guys are going to be on NXT. Like, I know they keep saying they're not going to call the Revival up, but I don't know how long that's going to be. They're going to have to go to the main roster soon. Okay, our next match is the NXT Women's Championship match, Asuka versus Ember Moon. And here's our look at the new NXT Women's Championship belt design. This one's okay. I'll get to my little qualm with this when we look at the next belt. Anyway, start things off, there was some chain wrestling with both women, hitting some moves back and forth. Asuka eventually hit a running hip attack on Ember Moon. Asuka then hit a second running hip attack on Ember Moon, knocking her into the guardrail. Moon came in and countered a spin kick into a face plant. Asuka hit a third running hip attack. Moon then sent Asuka out of the ring with a forearm. Moon began to go for the Eclipse, but Asuka rolled away, and she managed to come back and hit a Shining Wizard for a 2 count. Asuka put Moon in the Asuka lock. Eventually Moon fought back, fell back into the mat, driving Asuka into the mat with her. Asuka went for another hip attack. Moon dodged that hip attack and hit a big side kick. Asuka countered a springboard move into a German suplex. Moon began to rally back a little bit. Eventually, she hit a couple of big moves, went for the Eclipse again. Asuka got up, shoved the referee into the ropes, knocking Ember Moon from it before she could hit the Eclipse. And then Asuka hit a big roundhouse kick and got the 3 count and the victory. Surprisingly pedestrian women's match. Like, Ember Moon's had some problems. She's still quite a little green in the ring. She's still kind of finding her way, so I don't mind the idea of not doing the title change, but this was, like I said, a very pedestrian match. Not necessarily bad, it just was not very exciting. Not to the level that Asuka had been having, the 4-way match at the previous NXT TakeOver, or the Mickie James match, or that, or either of the Bayley matches. I would probably put this on par with the Nia Jax match from the TakeOver in, was it May or June of last year? TakeOver the End, if you remember that. Okay, now, before we get into the final match of the evening, they did a little pan through the crowd showing recognizable figures there. Not too many of them this time around. I guess the first noteworthy one would have been Edge and Beth Phoenix, the now Hall of Fame couple. But after that, Drew McIntyre showed up in the crowd. Or Drew Galloway, if you followed him on the independent scene. Yeah, that was interesting. Wonder, could he maybe coming back again? I mean, Bobby Roode was in the crowd last year. He came back in NXT. I'm sure if Drew McIntyre came back, he'd probably come back to the main roster. I don't know if he'd come back directly into NXT, but yeah, like, he was seen as kind of a hot property briefly, and then I don't know what happened. It was just injuries or what, but yeah, it kind of fell apart for him. And the next thing you know, he was in the jobber tag team of 3MB, and but then he's gone out. He's obviously had success. He's TNA World Champion. He's had success in Evolve. He's at WCPW now. So yeah, who knows? Could he maybe be in the Battle Royal tomorrow? It could be a surprise entrant. Anyway, our final match of the night, the NXT Championship match between Bobby Roode and Nakamura Shinsuke. And now here's our look at the new NXT World Championship belt, which is basically the same, a slightly larger design than the NXT Women's Championship. Also, the X in the middle has like different stones in it. I think, I don't know the proper stones that are in there. The Women's Championship has, I don't know if they're necessarily diamond in the strictest sense of the term, but diamond-like stones in there, where it's just a straight gold for the Men's World Championship. And, this is kind of where I have a bit of a problem. I like the fact that the women's belt and the men's belt looked distinctly different. I don't like the idea of them looking the same. Sort of like in the women's championships are basically just slightly off-color versions of the men's championships on the main roster, and I'd rather see a little bit of distinction in it. I mean, the designs are fine. I'm not flipping out too much about that, but again, I just like if there was a little bit of a difference more than just a different colored X. Okay, anyway, to the match proper. Immediately, Rude tries to go to Nakamura's injured knee. Rude would then do his glorious taunt. Nakamura kicked him square in the chest. Rude knocked Nakamura off the ring apron into the guardrail. At this point, Nakamura began selling a shoulder injury instead of a knee injury. Rude began beating on Nakamura. Nakamura fought back and hit a big spin kick. Nakamura hitting running knee with Rude draped over the top turnbuckle. Nakamura hit a knee drop onto the ring apron and showed no real effects to his injured knee, so it looked like he was doing pretty well. Rude fought back this time and hit a discus lariat. Nakamura went for the Kinshasa. Rude dodged that and hit a big chop block, and this is when Nakamura began selling the knee a little bit more. Rude locked on a figure four. Nakamura would eventually reverse the hold. Rude went for a second figure four. Nakamura countered that into a cross arm breaker and then into a triangle, and then back into a cross arm breaker. Rude dodged a flying knee. Nakamura hit the turnbuckle pad. Rude hit a backstabber and got a 2 count. Rude went for a glorious DDT. Nakamura countered that with a knee to the head. Rude would fight back again and hit another glorious DDT for a 2 count. At this point, Rude just snapped. He said, "Oh, I'm nuts to this." Got out of the ring, grabbed the ring bell, went back into the ring. The ref grabbed the ring bell, started fighting, and Rude just started screaming, "Disqualify me! Disqualify me!" And the ref's, "No, I'm not doing it." And that allowed Nakamura to come back and hit a big kick. He went for the, and then he hit an exploder suplex. Nakamura went for the Kinshasa. Rude countered that with a spine buster for a 2 count. Nakamura fought back again, hit a big suplex, went for another running knee in the corner. Rude countered that with a, not quite a chop block, basically dove at Nakamura's knee, took him out. Rude then got up onto the corner turnbuckle and hit a tornado glorious DDT. Basically, he spun around off the turnbuckle, picked him up, and hit the implant part of the DDT. Gets the 3 count and the win. Bobby Roode retains. And I'll tell you this right now, the final match really did kind of save what was a pretty average show. It would have been a one-match show if it wasn't for that. It would have just been the tag match. I guess I didn't talk too much about the Aleister Black debut. I mean, it was a decent match too, but again, nothing too terribly spectacular. And that's what I'd say about this one. Nothing too terribly spectacular. I would still put this in a good spot. Again, we had 2 matches that really helped bring this show up. This would have been probably my lowest rated NXT show ever, which would have been a C. But no, that's not a C. This is a B. It's solid. Those 2 matches did bring it up. Okay, so like I said, I'm giving the show a B. Alright, next video is going to be on Monday. It will be the WrestleMania recap and review. I'm still hoping I can at least see it this Sunday. I'm going to try, so I can at least then get the recap and review up a little bit earlier, but see you all then.